All right, guys, welcome to the Talking Shed podcast. Today, it's November 3rd, and we're going to have to do without our intro today because for some reason this SD card doesn't have it on there. So, Cody, what are you up to?
Not much. You and I just got done hunting, and we're recording a podcast.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, it's November 3rd, and if you're an avid deer hunter, that means something to you. It's the rut. And it's that time of year when you see a lot of deer. They're active, they're moving. And for Cody and I, it means that we're going to log some hours in the tree stand. And so tonight, we hunted here on my property and got a lot of sign, but we got skunked tonight.
Yeah, I think just with the way that the weather is right now, I feel like that I'm pretty sure that they're just moving in the morning, and I think especially with the way that the moon is right now, I think they're just waiting to move with the full moon out. You know, I think in the morning is going to be our best opportunity to see some.
Yeah.
I sound a little froggy.
Yeah, well, I've had a cold. I know that stuff's going around. I had a cold so bad. Well, my wife always makes fun of me. You know, I have the man cold, and, you know, of course, us men, we can't take pain like women can. But yeah. I'm telling you what, it was bad. I had it bad for probably the last 5 days. I'm just now starting to shake it, but I'm kind of the same way. But yeah, today we hunted this evening. You know, it's you know, probably about 7 o'clock now, so it's after dark. We just finished hunting. Decided we would record a podcast here, and yeah. So good luck to everyone out there hunting. Hopefully you have better luck than Cody and I do, but we're going to get after it. You know, it was probably 70 degrees today, not? So it's plenty warm for deer movement, but it's great for fall tillage and everything like that, and that's what we're going to get into a lot with this podcast. But we've had beautiful weather so far, unless you're trying to grow wheat. Then we just need a lot more rain.
Like you are.
Yeah. If you pay any attention to any of our videos or anything, Cody and I planted wheat here on my farm on October 14th. And, you know, it hasn't been bad. We've got probably a total of 7/10 of rain on it since we planted it, but we need more.
Yeah, definitely.
Wheat's kind of spotty in our area, and mine's coming up pretty decent, but it's plenty spotty. So we need some rain. We've got 50% chance on Saturday, and hopefully it comes, helps get this stuff out of the ground, and keeps it rolling. But, you know, we're going to talk about a lot of things in this podcast and recap probably a lot of this week, a lot of what we've been doing here at Fennec Equipment, and just keep spitting out some episodes for you guys to keep listening to.
Yeah.
Cody, you had a pretty good day today.
Yeah, I did. So basically I had well, I shouldn't say I had, but we had a 3100 that was sitting there at the farm. It was an 18-footer, and a gentleman from Delphus bought it today. So I was talking to him a little bit, had a demo actually lined up for it tomorrow, and I haven't broke the news to that guy yet, but I will tomorrow, that he's not going to be able to run that tool. So, but yeah, we put the hitch pin in it tonight, and it's a good deal. So,
why don't you walk us through how that deal came about? You know, how did you get the lead and all that?
Yeah, so basically I do a lot of posting a lot of our stuff like on Ag Talk and Facebook and stuff like that, just to kind of get it out on some different forums, because not everybody looks on the same forum. So that's kind of what my goal is trying to put it on different forums to where different guys that might not necessarily have dealt with us can deal with us. So, you know, this guy was actually fairly local. So his son actually hit me up on Facebook, and he asked me for my number, and his dad was kind of the one in charge of buying it and whatnot, and he called me up today, and he goes, hey, you know, is that tool still available? And I said, yeah, well, I have a guy that's wanting to demo it here this weekend, and he's potentially going to buy it. And I said, you know, the person that writes the check first is going to get it. So he we kind of looked it over, and he asked me all the questions and everything and whatnot, and we ended up putting a hitch pin in it, and he pulled her home tonight. So
Facebook of all places, it's a place that I try to avoid, but Facebook Marketplace is a magical deal. If you've got something that you're looking to sell that's nice and used, Facebook Marketplace is a nice way to do it. And I know you post a lot of our equipment on there.
Yeah.
And it's a great place for farmers to find us. We try to hit all avenues to get in front of farmers. Right now we started doing some print ads in the Farm World magazine.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple of phone calls off of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of print, but Farm World is a pretty solid magazine. It's distributed throughout Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. It's an enjoyable one to read. There's a ton of content in there. And if you're looking for iron, that's a very, very good magazine to do so. So
Yeah.
I've worked with the girls over there for a while, and right now we've got a Salford ad running. And so about every week I will kind of massage that ad and change it, remove things that get sold, add new things. But what I'm trying to do is paint Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan red with Salford from Fennig Equipment.
Well, it's red Salford, not Case IH.
Right.
Red.
Yeah, it's Salford red. But
Yeah, Salford
I think there's a ton of growers that still receive that paper. And so I think we're going to continue to run some ads in that. Now, aside from that, we're not big into print ads. We do the Tractor House magazine, but if you're familiar with how that works, you have to advertise in the print in order to be present online. Right. So I definitely don't advertise in there for the print, but you also walk into some Flying J's and some Pilots, and right there sits the Tractor House magazine.
Yep.
So I know it gets distributed very well. So, between Facebook Marketplace, Farm World, of course, YouTube, the podcast, granted, you're not always just going to sell a 25-foot Salford tool off the podcast, but it's definitely something that keeps people engaged and tuned into what we're doing. But we try to really mix it up. I think YouTube's probably our number one. We try to really educate customers through our YouTube channel, show them new products, show them how things work. And then I try to get them on a Tractor House. They'll see the Farm World. Cody's doing Ag Talk and Facebook Marketplace. So, and then we've got like Corbin, Jake, and Seth who are out on the road beating on doors a lot. I try to do that, and I'm going to do more of that in the future.
We both try to do, but it just doesn't always work out that way.
We'll get to why we're going to be able to do more of that in the future. But yeah, we try to kind of hit all sides instead of just, then you've got we don't have a ton of traffic where we're at.
Right.
I mean, we're located on our family farm, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. That's about to change.
Right. Yeah.
With the move over to Wabash Garage. But, we try to be in front of the farmer, because with the amount of inventory that we've got, I think everyone who comes to our place is pretty surprised at the amount of equipment we have to offer.
Definitely. And before we go any further, since we're talking about some forums and stuff like that, need to make a little shout out to, it'd be Tim Webster off of Twitter. It'd be at Tim Springdale 14.
Yeah.
He hit us up. Evidently, he likes listening to us a little bit. So shout out to you. Thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Yeah. We now know we have at least one listener.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. No, we try to keep this fun. I know we don't put out as many of these as we should, and we're going to work on that. We're going to continue the podcast. We enjoy doing it, and I personally love listening to podcasts. And when some of my favorite listens go 3, 4, 5 days without uploading a new episode, I get a little upset. I'll wake up in the morning, be like, man, I got a few minutes here. I want to start listening to one. And you go to Spotify and they haven't uploaded a new one. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, what are you guys doing? And so we'll get there. You know, we're not quite there yet. But
No.
we'll get there.
Someday we'll just be doing marketing, and that'll be about it.
Yeah, well, you know, the real problem is I need a better co-host.
Oh yeah. Yep.
you know,
That's what it is.
So if anyone out there, you know, can talk fluently, and you know knows the alphabet, hey, you know, sign up and we can start a podcast. But no, this week was huge at Fennec Equipment.
Yeah, we took that VRT tool basically all over Kingdom Come. It was
VRT
everywhere. Basically starting on Friday of last week.
I think it got unloaded on Thursday. We took it to Harner's on Thursday.
No, it was Friday.
It was
We went
Friday?
there Friday, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, we unloaded it Friday, put the baskets on it Friday because it got there Friday morning, put baskets on, took it to Harner's, and then after Harner's, you took it to Ackley's on Saturday. Was it Saturday? No,
Friday.
you did it on Friday. So yeah, it was Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
thought so.
So
Yeah, so we did unload it Thursday, and went to Harner's Thursday, did a demo quick, and then I took it to Bell Fountain, over to Ackley Holsteins, and demoed there, and from there I brought it back on Monday morning, and went to hike camps on 274 just west of Bremen.
Yep.
From there, I went to Depwig's,
Yep.
right there, just north of St. Henry.
yep.
And they're avid Salford owners. They've got a 2-piece S-Tine and a Salford chisel. And from there, we went to Garkey's.
Yep.
Garkey's run a lot of green equipment. They've
Yep.
got a disc right now, and they're kind of just exploring the VRT, kind of wanting to see what it can do. We ran it in corn stalks. We ran it in bean ground that they had a lot of manure on. They've got a lot of cattle. And so we ran it over there.
We were both there
Yep.
Tuesday.
Yep. From there, I think is when I took it down to Kevin. Yesterday, Kevin,
You were down by Liberty.
Liberty, Indiana. Kevin had a customer, Creek Farms, lined up a heck of a day. I mean, there were several farmers there, and we compared the VRT to the Case 330, and then to a Krauss accelerator, and it was a fun day to be running the Salford. Let's just say that.
Yep.
I've got a video that'll be coming out probably tomorrow comparing all those tools, and then today I went back down to Winchester, Indiana, to Critch Farms. Really good guys down there. They do a good job, very thorough. We ran it in some corn stalks. Man, those stalks were wet and tough. It was hard, but we came close to the look they were wanting. Then we went in soybeans, and it was lights out.
Yeah,
It was phenomenal.
That tool in soybeans is just silly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
basically a rototiller.
yeah. I mean,
This field that we were in, though, they had like tiled. I don't know. I don't know what all they did, but it was very uneven, and they wanted this tool to kind of help level it out. But I don't know if an iceberg could have even done it. But it did a good job. It leveled it out pretty well. You know, we set it deep, and I think at the end of the day, they were pretty happy with how it was performing. And so they're actually renting that tool for tomorrow.
oh, nice.
And so that tool probably won't move again, but I know Seth called me this afternoon. He's kind of itching to get it up there at Nova, so we'll see. But, yeah, big day. That is all I have done since that VRT got unloaded from the truck on Friday was demo that tool. Thursday. You're right. You're right, because I was right. But, you know, but we're into November. We're running late as the calendar goes, but weather's letting us do this. So we're going to demo this thing as much as we can. That way we've got, you know, the opportunity to show as many customers as we can what this tool can do. So it's a tool that it's hard to explain over a podcast. Hopefully you can get onto YouTube and see it, but it's the most versatile tool out there. So that's enough about the VRT. It was also a big week for Fendig equipment, just in
Tools.
in sales guys just knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
Our newest sales guy, Corbin Riggenbach, out there at Nova, just hit a home run.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah.
And
He sold a 30-foot VRT this week.
30-footer.
Yeah, a 30-footer.
Pine Tree Dairy out there.
Yep. And then he sold an Ag Systems applicator that I traded in on a new J&M.
Yep.
And we put new blades and knives on that, and the customer's going to come and get it whenever it's done. And it just got done today, so hopefully he can come get that here within the next few weeks and get it out of here. So
Corbin, he's our newest salesman. I think he jumped on board probably June? It was this summer.
June or July. It was something along those lines.
Either way, it was this summer. And basically, solid guy, really nice, very good customer base, knows how to treat a customer, and he just needed to get familiar with the products that we sell. And that takes a long time. I mean, we've had salesmen, and we always say, give them about a year by the time they learn the product and all that. And Corbin's starting to click, and it's good.
Yeah.
All these salesmen, we try to provide as much information and knowledge and pictures of all the equipment from both stores as what we can. Corbin started really knocking it out of the park. And everyone, it takes them a long time. Cody, he's been here for 2 years now, and I think by about his fifth, he'll start to really catch on. But
you always just got to pick on me, don't you?
But, everyone, it takes a long time. But, yeah, Corbin sold the VRT. Seth, out there at Nova as well,
sold the 4231.
4200.
Yep.
And that's a unique tool. But he sold a 31-footer. It was a stock unit. We just finished putting it together. And it was one of them deals where, have you guys ever seen your neighbor get a new tool and you're like, man, that thing is sweet? You're like, man, what is that new combine, or what is that new tillage tool? Well, Seth sold a 41-foot 4200 out there, and all of a sudden the neighbors kind of started talking, what is that tool? And really it was Snapchat. I had a few guys call me saying, hey, what's this tool I'm seeing on Dove and Snapchat? And I said, well, yeah, that's the 4200. It's kind of the first hybrid tool that Salford came out with. It can be aggressive. It can be light. It can be ran in the fall and spring. So then the neighbors, Seth's been dealing with them for a long time, and the neighbors ended up locking in on that 31-footer that we had. So Dad towed that out there today.
Yep.
So that was probably a long tow.
Yep. Well, from the Snapchats that he sent me, it seemed like he got stuck behind a combine. So
yeah,
I can only imagine how backed up the traffic was behind him. So.
Yeah, it was probably about 7 miles back. But that tool transport's at about 16. But Old 30's your friend when you're heading out to Nova.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I like taking, anyways. I know Grandpa and Dad have a couple backdoor shortcuts, but that's all right. So so great day for everyone. I moved a 5200. If you guys are familiar with it's the most aggressive Salford tool. We've got a customer over in Indiana that's going to be getting a 25-footer.
Yeah.
It's going to take some ponies.
Yeah, definitely.
But they're high corn residue. They want to manage corn residue without going so deep.
And where they're at, that's some really, really good dirt where they're at.
Yeah.
I mean, I went and picked up that 16-footer here this week, and I mean, there's some really, really good soil left on that thing. That was...
Well, I know. I bottled it up. I threw it out here on my week.
Yeah, you needed to.
Yeah. So all these tools that come back in, I grab all the dirt off of them from all these cherry places across the country and throw it out here in my field.
And just get a good blend.
Yep. One day my boys will have some pretty good dirt here.
Yep, that's right.
But, so they're getting a 5200. That tool is pretty dang aggressive. It mixes residue in the top 6 inches, so it kind of does what like an 875 can do without having to go 2 feet deep.
Yeah,
you
without
know?
ripping the bottoms out.
Right. You know, a lot of guys that run 875s, they really like them. But you get to the spring, and your planter kind of sinks, your sprayer kind of sinks, you know, and you're kind of never fixing that problem, because once you rip, then you have to rip the following year to get out the sprayer tracks from where you ripped the year before.
It's like those 875s need to shallow those shanks up like
I honestly
a foot
think,
and a half.
I honestly think if you had a case 875 that had chisels on it that only went like 9 inches deep,
Yeah.
that would be the tool.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, I don't. Sure, there's days where in fields and places, you know, every farm's different, but where you need that big shank. But I think 90% of the time, I mean, imagine how much less horsepower and diesel
Right.
you'd burn. And I think
Absolutely.
you could really get to what you were after.
Man,
by doing that.
I mean, whenever we went and picked up the Halo here this week, I mean, whatever Depwigs were doing there on the corner of
118
yeah,
in Flothia. Well,
118 in Flothia, I mean, I was
That-
like, man, I could plant behind that. I mean, that
Yeah.
looked like some pretty good stuff, whatever they were doing with the OG.
that was the Salford chisel, and Salford got out of the chisel game. I don't know. It's been a while since they've made a chisel, but they made a good one
Yeah.
when they did, and why they got out, I don't know. They got out of the inline ripper and the chisel game at the same time. And it was probably when Salford made all the acquisitions with Airway and Valmar, and you know, I think ownership wanted to stay with the building soil health
Right,
idea, and usually the inline and the chisel kind of don't follow that model.
Right,
But
right, yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, it's been a really good week. I mean, it's
well,
you know.
I mean, I've talked to a lot of farmers, and you know, how long has it been since? Now, I talked to Rob Tournay today.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
know,
we were there.
had the conversation with him. Said, Rob, how's it going? He said, well, you know, to be honest, I'm tired. And I've talked to a lot of farmers. You know, we could use a rain day, a couple
Yeah.
of them, to be
Yep.
honest. You know, these guys have been running almost just full bore since the start. You know, we had 4 tents here at one period and 3 tents in another rain
I mean,
shower.
there's
but
maybe been 3 days in the last, 2 months?
yeah, which, you know, for us, honestly, in the last month, our phones have been a tick slower. Traffic into the shop has been a tick slower. But that is because everyone's in the combine.
Yeah.
You know, we don't do much with harvest equipment other than tillage. And all that means is that finally when that combine key turns off, we're going to be that much more busy. And that's fine. It's allowed us to get a lot of prep work done. But when combines roll, we're slow.
Yeah.
We're slower. But you know, guys have to get their harvest done. But yeah, I've talked to a lot of farmers, and they're like, man, I could just use a rain day.
Yeah.
But by now, you know, November 3rd today, a lot of guys are kind of wrapping up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I
I
talked
mean-
to Seafrings. Neil hit me up about that VRT yesterday.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They're going to finish corn today. You know, so a lot of good sized farmers are getting close to the end of the corn. So
Yeah.
so that's good. You know, it's been a beautiful, beautiful fall. You know, we were just looking at DeerCast, which is an app that tells us when we need to be deer hunting or not, which is perfect because
Well,
we just need our wives to download that app. That way they can look.
they just know,
Well,
you know.
yeah, but then they can look at the forecast and know, okay, Wednesday it says it's going to be a really good day to hunt. It's going to be a cold front coming through. Maybe I should just let Adam hunt. You know, no.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay, well,
No.
we'll just stick to the way it is. And
I mean, we can sit there and dream about it all we want, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I'm gonna have to talk to her about that. But Yeah, overall.
You want to talk to mine about it too?
Yeah, sure, I
All
can.
right. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep. Okay. But guys are finishing up with harvest, but yeah, things are moving. Yeah, so big week, not only in sales but demos.
Yeah.
Also we had a new hire start this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Elliot Post started this week. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. Elliot's going to be one of the new shop guys. He's going to basically start out in the shop to start, and then I think he's going to help us at least try to navigate and help manage some jobs here. I think he'll be really, really good at that. He's got quite a few years at Crown doing the kind of that same mentality, and I think he'll be very, very good.
Yeah, he was managing a lot of welders, and man, anyone with some management experience, just come on over.
Yeah.
We'll take you because when in the last 3 years we have hired and hired and hired, and obviously the we don't have too strict rules when it comes to hiring because Cody made it on board in the last 3 years, but we have hired heavily, and it was to relieve a lot of pressure. Growing pains is a real thing, and when you grow, there's a lot of issues that come with that. Whenever you put all this stress on 2 or 3 guys who used to be able to do everything, and now you're growing, maybe sales increase 30% year over year, but your staff did not, you're going to run into a problem. And we saw that. Sales have grown. We've grown as a company, and we have to continue to add good people on board. And in the last 3 years, we've done so. We've got Corbin and Jake and Devin and Sam and Brent and Alex and now Elliot and Cody. We've added them all in the last few years, and it's a game changer. It's made a huge difference. Now, on the flip side, you also have to realize that every morning at 7:50, well, Cody, don't get in there until about 9, but you're gonna have about 13 faces staring at you, and they are going to be wondering what in the world you want them to do that day. So you have to have a good idea, a very thorough plan for the day, because you have to point all these people in a direction. It's all got to be a positive direction. And, you also have to realize that they have goals for that day. And one of them is always to get home to their family by 5:05. So you got to keep that in mind. Sometimes you'll get in there in the morning and you've got a catastrophe. Oh, we've got a guy up in northern Indiana. He's running a Valmar, and he had a sensor go bad. He needs to run. We got to get up there right now. And
Planter and applicator season is when that happens the most.
Right.
And it is a nightmare.
Yeah. And then we send guys and not really realizing that we're kind of sending them into a buzzsaw. We might send them into a place where they aren't getting home till 7:30 p.m., even if they jump on a jet and try to get home.
Yeah.
And so you got to keep all that in mind, and we do, and we've gotten a lot better at that. But yeah, it's different. We add people to relieve stress, but it doesn't always happen that way. When you hire the right people and the good people, they're going to take care of it for you. They're going to make those decisions when they can think for themselves. You've got some right people when you give them an idea about what they need to do for the day, and they come back to you with a better idea. That's when you're okay.
Yeah.
You send a guy, hey, Devin, go up here. I need to do this and this, and you've got a painting in your head of how it's going to work. And then Devin gets there and he calls you and says, hey, I think your plan was pretty decent, but what about this? And it's like, yeah, do that. Go with that. And all of a sudden, it's easier. But yeah, so over the years, obviously not only have we added the locations, but the people. And it's a double-edged sword. And I think everything's going to come full circle once we get into Wabash.
And I think that goes with everything. I mean, last year we got our first ambulance. Well, today Big Red got her first fire up, and she went down
It's
to Bell
called
Fountain.
the Red Rocket.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. But Big Red made her first adventure down to Bell Fountain today to go change out a seal. Devin took her down there, and sounded like it went halfway decent until they blew the new seal out of the motor, so we had to order a new seal. But other than that, it sounded like it went pretty good. Just the little additions that we try to make to help things go a lot smoother. I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, nobody wants to leave a shop in any other vehicle than the white ambulance.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
why not have another one?
Yeah, efficiency. We've really honed in on efficiency because you've got to be able to do more stuff in less time. And how do you do that? Well, sometimes the answer is people. Sometimes the answer is tools. We have invested heavily in tools and equipment, plasma cutters, mag drills, mill drills, Milwaukee stuff out the wazoo. The only bad thing about Milwaukee stuff is that it's made in China. If that stuff was made in America, I'd have invested in it by now. But, all of these tools allow us to become much more efficient. And we can fix things a lot faster. And we can make a job that's pretty hard look pretty easy.
Yeah.
I mean, today we were hooking up Cody's customer with that 3100 that he sold. And we got threads crossed. I think they were already messed up on that bolt on the hitch, and so we tightened them up, and then we got to a point to where we couldn't loosen it, and I said, well, I guess we're just gonna have to cut it off. So I made a quick run, grabbed a grinder, and in about a minute we had that thing just off and put a new bolt in there. And something that could be a real problem, we can make it really a non-issue with all the tools that we have. So,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
we're only going to expand on that when we get to Wabash. I mean,
Yeah.
can you imagine?
I mean, with the amount of options that we have down there, I think it's kind of an endless opportunity of what we have. I mean, granted, I say endless. I know it's going to be, it will end one day whenever we, potentially have the ability to outgrow that place. Hopefully that's not in the near future. But, with the amount of cranes and everything that we have down there, hopefully, we've got more than enough to feed an army as far as our aspect goes of it. So, I don't know. For me, I think that it's definitely I know everybody's just chomping at the bit to get down there. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, I am too, but at the same time, let's not forget about where we came from, though, either. So,
Yeah, we're going to take our time getting in there. I know they just tore out all the offices, and I asked Dad what was going in place of them, and he kind of just giggled and said it was a secret. So I don't know what they're putting in place of there. Maybe
ping pong table, maybe?
I'm here to tell you, there's going to be a ping pong table in there before it's all said and done.
Yep.
And if my wife struggles to get me home after 5, it won't be because I'm working on a Salford. It'll be because I'm cleaning house on the ping pong table. That's a great idea.
We need to put it up in the loft.
Well, yeah.
Is what we need to do.
Yeah, we need to put somewhere Dad can't find it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Not only because he'd catch us on us too much, but I'm pretty sure he could still whoop us all in ping pong.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mainly because he used to play ping pong a lot. But yeah, excited to get down to Wabash Garage. And I've had so many people talk to us about it. hey, how soon you getting into Wabash? And it's like, well, it's going to be a long, long road. We'll get there eventually, but we're definitely not running a race to get in there.
Yeah, I've got guys that ask me all the time, when are you guys going to move to the new location? And
I
I'm
always
like,
tell them, well, whenever you're going to come down and help us load up,
yeah.
we could use all the help we could get to get everything moved. That's going to be a job. I don't know how we're going to get everything down there.
I wouldn't imagine we're going to take everything down there at one whoop and swing, but
No,
I would say the majority of the stuff will be down there. So
yeah, it'll be
it'll
fun.
be nice. Heck, we took stuff down there today. You know.
The only thing I'm not looking forward to is, it's on a busy highway and stuff, but that can be negative as well. Right now, knock on wood, we don't have any issues with theft or burglary or anyone stealing a tool.
Right.
I mean, a lot of these places are gated anymore. You go to Koenig's over at Anna. If you're there before 9 or after 5, good luck.
Yeah,
you're
it's
not
gated.
getting in. So I don't know. Maybe we need to do that too. You hate to do that because it's just kind of convenient for customers who, hey, can I get in there after 5:30? And go ahead. But it's the few that ruin it for the masses. But
Yeah. You and I had that conversation today. Was do we need to be putting a gate up there? And it's like, yeah, we probably should.
Yeah.
Not saying that would stop somebody, but it would at least help prevent it. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we are all excited to get down there, and I know, like I said, everybody's chomping at the bit to get down there, and it'll be quite the growing pain, but it'll be also quite the growing relief as well. So,
yeah. As we look forward in the next 6 months, you and I were going through some orders that we've got from Yetter. We got a ton of closing wheels, a ton of strip fresheners, a ton of all this equipment coming. What do you see coming in the future? I mean, what makes you nervous? You got guys harvesting based on last year, what you saw from December forward. When you look at all those orders, I mean, heck, just a single purchase order could be $50,000, and we've got dozens of them.
Yep.
And that's stuff that we're ordering, we're speaking for. We tell Yetter, hey, get us this, and we want it now, and we want some terms on it. But at the end of the day, it's something we got to end up stroking a check for.
Yeah.
What are you seeing? We gonna move all this stuff?
We can. It just all depends on how, what we
the
want to
Fed's
do.
just up the interest rate 0.75 of a point today.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I'm
what, I don't know, their fourth move maybe recently.
Yeah, I bet it's more than that. Yeah, I mean,
that's going to change things.
Yeah.
I just ran a quote for financing, and it was 6.7 on their low rate. That was before the hike.
yeah.
We're not getting into scary numbers yet, but I think that's going to change what we're doing a little bit.
I would say so.
And they're trying to slow the economy, of course, but had stuff still been at the 4s, I don't think we would have anything on our lot right now.
Yeah, I think it would have just been like feathers in the wind. I mean, I really don't know how we would have been able to keep up with what would have happened if the interest rates were what they were.
Yeah.
Back in March. Back in March they were still at 3.5% to 4%, depending on how much you were taking out.
Yeah,
so it was crazy.
Yeah, and right now it's not a huge deal. Yields are good, grain prices are fine. But, it does make me wonder, and you always got to think, forward all the time. What's going to be the biggest issue? What's the biggest hurdle? Well, a year ago it was inventory. And not really for us. We've always managed inventory to levels at where we were okay.
Right.
And we're going to continue to do that. But for most, it was inventory. But I think it's going to get to the point of, financing and inputs. Inputs.
Yeah. What kind of deal can you make me today? Type deal. Truthfully, for me, I feel like the bigger stuff is always going to stay at the price that it's going to be at, especially on the Salford side of things. I think with the Yetter stuff, there are some very big items out there that they do offer, but with some of the smaller stuff, guys are looking at inputs, looking at where it's going to save them the most money. It's hard to say where I feel like it's going to scare me the most, but the oddball items I think that we stock is where we're going to save ourselves with the stuff that everybody else is able to stock, because I really don't feel like with that particular, with the closing wheels, the road cleaners, the strip fresheners, I don't think the inventory is the answer anymore. The answer is well, what can we do? What is it going to make it right for us, and what is it going to make it right for them, and what kind of terms are we going to be able to lay out for them to afford this?
Yeah. On a lot of the commodity items, it's kind of a race to the bottom.
Right.
You've got customers out there who can, you can make 4 or 5 phone calls, and pretty soon you can have dealers come up with some pricing on some commodities that are easy to come by, ship for free, all this that are dirt cheap. They're selling them for a couple dollars over cost. And, with the 25 employees that we have, the phenomenal insurance that we have, we can't justify doing that. So,
right.
The commodity stuff definitely isn't our game. Mm-hmm. We always try to stay different. We always try to take the road less traveled to set ourselves apart.
Right.
So, yeah, you're right. The commodity items are going to continue to fall off for us. But, I wonder where, some of the big tillage is going. And I'm not really talking Salford, but everyone I talk to that I demo to, you got the diesel where it's at. Apparently we're going to run out of it here in about 22 days. But, the cost of it, and it becomes a real issue when you're running tillage of any sort to create even more passes. Think of running an 875 this fall.
Yeah.
How much diesel you're burning an acre, and then you're also creating another pass, at least another pass.
Yep.
And so that starts to add up. And then you take the inputs, fertilizer, everything. Now, that's where we shine, though. And that's kind of why I brought all this up. As inputs and everything climb, we provide solutions to the farmer that make everything more efficient. The fertilizer utilization.
Yep.
The tillage. Salford offers tillage options that require a lot less horsepower, a lot less diesel, and can get the same stuff done.
Yep.
You look at tools like the Devastator.
Yep.
That's a fall tillage pass.
Right.
That requires zero diesel.
There's guys out there that claim that it saves them a tillage pass in the spring because they don't have to hit it one more time.
Right.
Yep. I think the days of hitting it 4 or 5 times and then going in and planting it are gone.
Yeah.
In our day and age, I don't foresee us being able to afford that, or really see the concept of why it's even an option.
A lot of it's time.
Right. Time and money.
I think about when you and I seeded the wheat here at our farm. Mm-hmm. You know, I have 55 acres of wheat.
Yeah.
Not much.
No.
But to me, it's a ton. Mm-hmm. And we seeded that with a 20-foot tool. We did it with a Salford. And we started at like 4 p.m. and we got done at like 2 a.m.
Yep.
And in our lives, with our kids and our wives and our family, that's about all the time we had available.
Yeah.
I don't know when else we could have done it. And, you know, you take that to scale on some of these bigger farmers, and sure, they're going to hire guys, and just like we do. But everyone's time is a lot more valuable today than what it's ever been.
Right.
Everyone's busier. There's so much going on. And, yeah, I think that efficiency drives everything.
Yeah.
Especially in what we're doing. Everyone wants to go wider and faster, cover more acres in less hours.
Yep. And that's why I feel like, you know, whenever we decided we were going to order all these strip till units from Yetter, you know, we didn't order the Mavericks versus the cab controls.
Well,
and that was kind of part of that. That kind of drove that, because of we were trying to focus more towards efficiency and trying to better ourselves as far as where we were wanting to go.
Right.
You know.
And speaking of strip till, I just got to hold your thought for a second. Did you know that John Deere invented strip till this week? Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard. I actually heard that Unterfirth gave them the idea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I heard it was Soil Warrior. But either way, strip till is now acceptable.
Yeah.
Across all farming.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting.
I heard the engineer came up with the plan and kind of took it to him and
so
said,
what do? They do tillage just in like strips?
Yeah.
They don't till the whole field?
Yep, evidently. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
Does the corn grow like green and then yellow and green and yellow?
No,
like
it grows all green.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
yep, in the strips. Yep.
Huh.
Believe it or not.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
We'll have to look into that.
Yeah, it looks just like the Soil Warrior.
Huh. Mm-hmm. Well, at least now it's acceptable for every farmer across America.
Yep. Because the only difference is that it's painted green and yellow, evidently.
Well, and the price.
Well, you know, that's what they say.
But their service.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Strip till's been big for us over the years, and
it's probably enough bashing that we need to be doing.
We're not bashing. I'm just trying to explore. And, you know, strip tillage has been big for us, but, you know, we've seen some phasing away from, like, mole knife units.
Yeah.
I mean, my guy that just bought the 5225, they tried strip till in the best form possible. They bought the best rig you could buy.
Right.
And they just said it's not for us. And that's fine. It's not for everyone. But the amount of management, the amount of time that it takes to do it, it can be overwhelming. And, you know, granted, this fall, you know, it's a strip tiller's dream.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I mean, harvest is done. Now let's go on a strip till and just kind of cruise through it. It's not going to rain for, you know, a week. Let's roll. But take last fall.
Yeah.
You know, I know guys that couldn't get a lot of tillage done because it was just so wet, let alone get crops out of the field. So,
and that's where a lot of guys went to more of the blade machines versus the mole knife. You know, and they were just running it in the spring ahead of their planter, and it was basically acting like a 30-foot Salford tool, doing it to the whole field versus your strips, your 10-inch bands.
Right. So,
you know, I think there's a lot to take from it as far as being positive, you know, versus being negative. I feel like, you know, with the way that, you know, we're not necessarily in the H2O Ohio program, but, you know, guys north of us are. And that's something that we need to consider just because of, the leaching and everything else that happens. And especially with our area, with the amount of livestock that is in our area, guys just, the whole strip till thing just doesn't necessarily work here because we need to incorporate that manure as best as we can. Granted, there are options out there, but they're not exactly the most time efficient things that you can do. So that's why guys don't necessarily fade to them.
Right.
In my opinion.
Strip till's been big for us, but yeah, we're definitely seeing a drive towards like the freshener style deal.
Yeah.
But there's some guys that like doing some compaction breaking, some deeper tillage in the fall, but it's going to cost diesel and horsepower. You're going to be limited to your acres per hour, and that's what's tough. This fall it sounds attractive, but man, when it rains, it pours on the strip tillage world. But
yeah, old Jeff Dooling has hit on that pretty hard here on Snapchat here the last few days.
yeah, if you don't follow Jeff Dooling on Snapchat, you're missing out. Also, Tony Grody.
Yeah, Tony Grody. Yep.
He, it's amazing. He must have been getting a lot of rain or something recently. He's had a lot of thunderstorms.
I can't believe these lightning strikes that just come out of nowhere.
I need to know, have any of you guys had random lightning strikes just show up out of nowhere and it catches like a big burn pile on fire accidentally? I need to know because I've had a pile of brush sitting back here at my farm for 3 months and I can't get the sucker to light on fire with all these lightning strikes, and all of a sudden Tony Grody, all of a sudden his brush just burns out at a single strike of a lightning. So you'll have to check him out on Snapchat too.
It's one heck of a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Well,
my favorite is that when he does get that brush pile to finally burn, he just sits there and watches it and makes sure that it doesn't get out of hand. But I did catch the other day, it sounded like it did get out of hand the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Well, something about, it almost burned his dump trailer. That
really?
last one? Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to ask him about it. But, well, it's getting late in the evening.
Yeah, I'm sure our wives aren't very happy with us right now. So.
Well, we're on deer hunt 2022.
We're on Rutcation.
Rutcation.
Yep.
Yeah, we're going to take a few days off here. I haven't told Dad yet. We're taking.
He's going to find out tomorrow morning.
Oh, we're deer hunting tomorrow morning.
That's right.
Well,
so
it's fun podcast, and we'll keep some good content rolling. We're going to hunt tomorrow and over the weekend, so we'll come up with some great topics and hopefully record another podcast over the weekend. So
yeah,
I got to get this email blast done. Tomorrow's Friday, and I hope everyone has a great day, and thanks for tuning in to the Talking Shed podcast.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.